warm welcome to a brand new edition of Breeding to Win, and we kickstart the show this evening with equine dentistry and take a look at the important role it plays in the performance of racehorses. Fiona Ramsden spent a day out with equine dental technician Gary Waters to find out more about the special trade.
Well, I've got a very interesting guest with me this afternoon. We don't talk about equine horse dentistry enough, and of course these horses, they need to see a dentist just as often as we do as humans. And Gary Waters is with me this afternoon. He's going to show us a few things that he does with these horses. Of course, he does many horses across the board, from ponies to general horses to race horses. He really does have his work cut out, and he also does a lot of work overseas. But he's taken the time this afternoon and he's going to talk to us about what goes on here with the racehorses. Gary, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to us.
Pleasure.
Now, we've got a 3-year-old here, and you've already put this contraption on. If you could just tell us what this is. This obviously...
This is a gag, yeah. And all it does is allows me to open up his mouth and have a good look in there without getting bitten. So I can have a look, see whether there are any caps, any soft tissue damage, and then it allows me to put my hand in and have a good feel of what's going on in the mouth as well.
So like us, Gary, they obviously need quite regular visits from you. How often do you come and visit these guys at the stables?
We do these horses every 4 months. They'll lose 20 baby teeth or deciduous teeth between the age of 2.5 and 3 and 9 months. So we just make sure that there aren't any loose caps or half caps in the mouth, no soft tissue damage, shape the first teeth for bit accommodation, and just general once over, really. Make sure that there aren't too many cavities in the mouth or nothing that has to be referred on to a vet.
Yeah, and obviously different horses, different teeth, different quality of teeth, more issues with some than others.
The first time they come in, if they haven't been done at the stud already, most of them have, we'll take their wolf teeth out. That's obviously probably the worst of it. And then after that, it's just routine maintenance. As long as we do them regularly, stay on top of them, we don't need to take a lot of tooth off, so it doesn't affect them. They can still go out and work that day, and they're just not going to be chucking their heads all over the place.
And obviously it's so important for their eating. Obviously that's the utmost and most important thing. But you often hear of riders having issues with the bridle and issues with the riding side of a horse if their teeth are uncomfortable. And you obviously need to make sure that everything is correct and fine for them to have a bridle in their mouth.
Yeah, it's very important that we shape the first cheek teeth, which are the ones behind the bit basically, so that any soft tissue that gets squeezed up between those teeth and the bit, it doesn't cut. So it's nice and comfortable, the horse is comfortable, and that makes a massive difference.
Well, this 3-year-old, he's quite laid back. He might not be laid back if we don't sort of crack on here a bit, but you've spotted a couple of issues that you can work on.
Yeah, he's got a couple of caps to come out. He's lost 4 deciduous incisors already. He's lost 4 cheek teeth caps already as well, his premolars. He's got another 2 to come out now, and then he'll have 4 left to lose, which he'll lose in probably the next 6 months.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you get on. If you can sort of talk us through, and I might just ask a few questions here and there, but really, really interesting. And you've got a really good laid-back patient here.
Okay, well, I'll whip these caps out quickly just to show you. So there you go.
Oh, that was very quick and easy.
So you see there's nothing really holding on to that. So the root of this has been resorbed by the adult tooth. It forms from the outside in, and then as it erupts, it just pushes off what's left, and that's pretty much why they call it a cap. But with that not holding much in there and already getting food stuck underneath that, it would be uncomfortable. So one more of them to come out. There we go.
So easy, wow.
Right.
Very, very easy indeed.
And then obviously the new tooth that comes through under that is going to be sharp.
You've got quite a dentist's toolbox there.
That's only half of it. So this is a manual float, and basically all we're doing is smoothing up the outsides of the top teeth and the insides of the bottom teeth. So the buccal edges of the upper teeth and the lingual edges of the lower teeth. This fella isn't too sharp. He would have been done 4 months ago, so there isn't that much teeth to take off. And you can see he's pretty relaxed with it as well.
I suppose it's like taking your children to the dentist early. If they're used to it, then they know what's happening, they know what's going on.
Definitely. A lot of it comes down to handling and breeding as well. The race horses are probably the best behaved horses to do because they're handled so much. But temperament-wise, they're normally pretty good anyway, so there aren't many that need sedation.
I mean, he's got no groom holding him, nothing. He's just standing like a lamb.
And they're pretty much all like this in this yard as well. You'll obviously find the odd one that might be a bit iffy, but if we think we're not going to get a proper job done, then we just get the vets in and have them sedated.
Obviously, when you look at horses' teeth, they're often very dirty, but that's just the way it is. There's no saying that particular horse's teeth are worse than a horse that's got clean teeth.
No, dirty is not necessarily bad. So the outside of a horse's tooth has peripheral cementum on, which is porous. So whatever feed they're eating, if it's a very molasses feed, it's going to be stained dark. And then you normally have little white bits showing through, and that's where that's actually been rubbed off. So you do get clients saying, oh, could you clean my horse's teeth? But that's the wrong thing to do.
And do you get difficult ones or difficult situations where you may need an x-ray?
Yeah, I mean, there are specialist vets in Cape Town that, would only do equine teeth. And if we do see something that we think needs looking at, a referral, then we would refer it on.
Okay, so Gary, you've got a power tool coming out now. What does this do? Is this sort of like a clean or a polish or?
No, this is a diamond disc. You can reduce tooth with it. Obviously, you have to be careful. This isn't water cooled, so it can cook the tooth if you keep it on one spot for too long. So you have to be very wary of that. Some horses don't like the noise at all, others don't mind it. Sometimes I find it's just good to use a combination of both tools. So it doesn't make too much noise really. And I'll just have a look at what I'm doing this time. I find it does just leave a nice polish where I've been working with the manual floats as well.
So has he been relatively an easy customer? He hasn't had to have too much done today?
No, he's been very good. What we will do as well is where he has just capped recently, we'll just smooth up the new tooth that's come through.
If you get a complaint from a rider that the bit's not suiting them or their mouth's very sensitive, you can obviously automatically see where the issue is?
Yeah, as soon as you look in the mouth, you normally, if there's uneven pressure anywhere or the horse is hanging to one side or anything like that, you're going to see it in the mouth. You'll see the soft tissue damage to that side of the mouth, and that would indicate a problem. Normally there's a sharp point, not always. Sometimes it's something else. It might be a bad back, and they might be feeding something else and just not going right. And we try and explain that to the trainers as well, that if the horse isn't working right at home, you can't expect him to produce the goods on the track. Some guys only do it, it's reactive dentistry, they'll only do it when they have a problem. Fortunately for me, not really in Cape Town, but it's the wrong way to go because the damage has already been done. You've already got a bad ride. So all the more reason to do it regularly as well.
But I really don't think people quite realise the importance of keeping their mouths healthy and happy. It just makes such a difference. As I said, not only the eating, but they've got to be comfortable with their bits and bridles as well.
Yeah, definitely. Prevention is better than cure when it comes to their mouths. So prophylactic dentistry is the way to go.
So this was quite an easy customer. That's basically what you're going to go through.
Yeah, so what I would do now is take the gag off normally, finish him without the gag on, give his mouth a rinse, and that would be him. And then we'd look at him in 4 months again. Unless they're having a problem with him between now and his next treatment, then we'd come in and have a look.
And you'll move on to the next customer. And as you said, different ages, different issues, different teeth need to come out.
Different issues, yeah, but we still try and do them all on the same rotation. That way everything gets looked at. We work at a flat rate, so we don't charge according to the work that gets done. So if there's a lot of work or a little work, everything's at least getting looked at the same time, nothing's getting missed.
And do you get issues like humans do, that it's not necessarily the teeth and it's a gum issue?
You do, but the horses generally have healthy mouths, so it's not something you'd see very often. In older horses, more so than in race horses. Race horses generally have quite healthy mouths. The biggest issue with them is bit trauma, tongue ties being left on things like that, and then the peripheral caries as well, cavities. That leaves the mouth quite sensitive sometimes. So we normally try and identify that, and if they can, we'll try and get them to rinse the mouth out. It'll make a big difference.
I know you're quite interested in the horse racing as well, so it obviously gives you quite a buzz if you've actually treated or looked after one of the bigger horse's teeth.
Well, I mean, we do Joseph O'Brien, so doing Melbourne Cup winners is great. And then National Hunt as well. Tiger Rolls won the Great National twice. It was great to be associated with him. I treated his teeth. Stuart Huggan, my colleague, treated him as well. Altior for Nicky Henderson, done some great names. So
that's really exciting. No, fantastic. Well done to you. Keep up the good work. Well, thanks very much for sharing this afternoon, your good work. We really have got a super cool dude here. If they're all like this, I think I could take up being a dentist as well. But thanks very much, Gary. Really appreciate it.
That's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks very much to Gary Waters, and of course this super cool 3-year-old who's been a fantastic patient. The equine horse dentistry is something that really is important, and we've got to have healthy, happy horses.
Jockey Bernard Fayd'herbe enjoyed a successful stint on the Isle of Mauritius this past year, but he's now back in South Africa and looking forward to teaming up with some more champions in the up-and-coming Cape summer season.
It's great to have jockey Bernard Fayd'herbe back here in Cape Town after he's had a stint in Mauritius. Bernard, lovely to have you back. Is it good to be back in Cape Town?
Yes, it's lovely to be back. Obviously I had a really good time in Mauritius, but nice to be back home.
Yeah, you were riding there for Vincent Allett, and good season?
Yes, it was a very good season. I obviously went over there halfway through last season in September, and I did my 2 weeks quarantine, and we had a very good end of the season, and this season we started off well and we did really well, so can't complain. I had a really good stunt there.
You're no stranger to their shores. You've been over quite a few times, haven't you? So you obviously know the drill, you know the tracks well.
It's obviously one of the oldest tracks in the world, but very tight track, and but it is what it is, and it's really good racing. End of the day, it's very entertaining racing.
And the beauty of it is, of course, a lot of our horses from Cape Town go to Mauritius, so you know a lot of them.
Yes, I knew quite a few of the horses, and the nice thing about the horses, they race against each other throughout the year, so you get to know your opposition and the horses that you're riding, so it's really interesting racing.
Yeah, it's a good lifestyle while you're there, but it's not easy. It's hard work, isn't it?
Yes, you can't complain. I mean, I'd go to work 4 times a week, and then we race on a Saturday, and once a month or every 2 months you race on a Saturday and a Sunday. So in general it's a good lifestyle.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you back, and just before the season really hots up. Now, obviously you're not going to be involved with a stable, you're going to ride freelance, but there's plenty of opportunities out there.
Yes, I'm very fortunate that obviously I know a lot of people, and they've been really supportive. At the moment I'm just freelancing, riding a bit of work for everyone, and just trying to find those new young good horses coming through. There's a few nice horses that I've spotted out there, and with a little bit of luck I can get on them, and it's going to be a good summer season.
Yeah, you've already been out and about. You've been to Joburg, you've been to Port Elizabeth, you've had a winner back, so things are looking good. Yes,
I'm very grateful. Joey Soma gave me the ride back on, got the green lights. He had a prep run on the weekend. The pace was slow, and I committed to drop him in from the bad draw, which didn't work out for us, but he finished well and he ran 9th. Going into the Summer Cup, I think was a perfect prep, so I'm expecting him to be right there in the Summer Cup. So he's probably the most exciting horse that I've got coming up at the moment, that's confirmed. But there's a lot of young other horses out there that probably going to try and get on 1 or 2 for the Guineas and the Derby, and then there's always those older horses and the Met and the Queen's Plate that I'll probably get an opportunity to get on.
Yeah, and there's bigger stables like Snaith. I mean, they've got lots running in all those big races, so there's opportunities there as well.
It's a good problem to have that Richard's got, but it's also it's some tough choices out there, and he's also retained by Nick Johnson, so he's going to be limited to what he can ride in those big races. But I wouldn't mind riding second or third choice to some of the bigger trainers. There's going to be some good rides available, I think.
Yeah, it's great that you remain so hungry and enthusiastic. I mean, I was looking at your stats. You've won, 5 Queen's Plates, 3 Mets, July. You've won all the big ones, but you still obviously want to be on the top horses and aim to win some more big ones.
Yes, all about that. I mean, every win is obviously important and exciting, but I thrive to win those big races, and I'm looking forward to hopefully picking up 1 or 2 more this summer season.
And weight-wise, obviously it gets a little bit harder as you get a bit older, but you're looking really fit, and you're obviously working on that.
Yes, well, when I finished off in Mauritius, I had a month off, so I got a little bit heavy. It's probably going to take me another 2 weeks to get my weight to where I want it to be. I've been trying to take 58 rides, but I've been a little bit heavy. But in the next week or 2, I'm sure I'll get to that weight, and by November, mid-November, I'll be ready for the group races. Most of the group races carry 58 and above, so that's my goal weight, is to be able to ride 58.
And obviously you've been following our racing while you've been away, so you've seen which are the better horses and what's out there. We do look to have some lovely youngsters coming along as well.
Yes, some really exciting horses. I think Mark de Kock's obviously got the best filly that I've seen run at the moment, and Candice has got a very good filly. The Colts is wide open. There's a lot of young horses that I've worked in the mornings that are really exciting. There's a few of them that have run already that look really promising. So I think it's going to be a really competitive season.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll have a good season back here in Cape Town, and obviously you're prepared to travel. You'll do Joburg and Durban, but plan to go back again to Mauritius next season?
At the moment, I'm really concentrating on finishing off the Cape season. That's my main goal. And if the right opportunity arises, I'd definitely consider it, because it's a really nice place to work, and it's a good lifestyle. But for the time being, I'm just mainly concentrating on the Cape summer season.
And obviously it's good to be back, because you've got great friends as well, and I know you're great friends with owners Marsh and Bryn, and it was great that you could actually follow Katak's journey to Singapore as well.
Yes, it was fantastic for him. Funny enough, when I was in Mauritius, he was in quarantine, so I was very fortunate to go and ride him in quarantine and help out with his journey until he went over to France, and from there he went to Singapore, and he had 1 or 2 prep runs, and we were like a little bit disappointed because he didn't run to what we thought he would run, and it was really nice to watch him run last time out. I was actually with Marsh, and we watched a race together, and it was nice to see him back. And I think he's running in the Gold Cup in 2 weeks' time or so, with the conditions that are probably going to suit him, with being a little bit further, and the weight's in his advantage, so we're expecting him to really do well for us in Singapore.
Yeah, no, I think that last run was certainly very, very exciting, and I think he's back. And as I said, you've got a great relationship with Marsh and Bryn, and you must have been really sad when you heard that Pocket Power passed away while you were away, and you've got a lovely big picture of him on your wall inside the house, and it must bring back very, very fond memories.
Yes, a horse like that's unbelievable. Sometimes I just sit back and just think like how special he actually was. And he had a great life. It was very, very good of the whole team to retire him when he did, and he went to Hemel Harder, and he really lived the best time of his final few years. And when I heard he passed away, they just said, he passed away peacefully in a lovely paddock. So what a way to go. I couldn't have thought of a better way. And he was a great horse, and I was very fortunate. Before I went to Mauritius, I went and visited him, so I saw him for the last time. So it was a very good story, and it's a very special horse, and very privileged to be associated with him.
Yeah, I saw lots of pictures on social media when you were here. You used to visit him quite often. But over the years, apart from him, other big horses that have really stuck in your memory?
There's been so many for you. I'd have to say the fastest horse that I've ever sat on is JJ the Jet Plane. I was very fortunate to only be part of his last bit of his career, and we won that Algarve sprint in Dubai against his international horses, which was special. Apart from him, there's been so many good Group 1 horses that I've been associated with, but I think him and Pocket Power are probably the best stayer and best sprinter that's I've been associated with, but there's been quite a few of them.
Yeah, as I said, going through the list, you have won a lot of the big races, but what's out there race-wise that you'd really like to win?
I'd like to win the Summer Cup, probably one of the bigger races in Joburg, and I haven't won that, so that would be great. And the Gold Cup's a race that I'd like to win, but it's going to be hard for me with the weight condition, because it's a handicap race, so it's very hard for the top weight to win that race. But those are probably my next 2 big races that I'm targeting in South Africa. Apart from that, internationally, there's obviously those big races that you'd love to get a ride in.
Yeah, you've already rode in Dubai, obviously, and done well there, but I follow the overseas racing a lot, and all those English jockeys and the amount of travelling they do, and the big races they ride in, and it's just wonderful seeing there's a lot of youngsters coming through, and they're great on social media, watching Oisin and Tom, and I don't know whether you follow those youngsters, but they travel and they ride in some big races, and wow, it's quite a career.
Yes, it is fantastic. I've been very lucky to meet all those guys traveling, especially in Dubai, all the international guys. come out for the season, so you get to meet them and socialise with them. Really great guys, and yeah, the youngsters have really upped their game, so it keeps us really working hard to keep up with them. There's some fantastic jockeys out there. I think, including in South Africa, I think there's some real nice young guys that are coming through, and it's nice to see the guys doing well in Hong Kong, like Carice doing very well for Mauritius and for South Africa, and nice to see Luke Ferraris also having a few winners, and I've heard that Lau Yurtsen's going back over again, and I'm sure if he gets the opportunities he'll do well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got lots of superstars out there, but you're one of them, and we're glad to have you back, and I hope you ride lots of big winners this season, and if you do go back to Mauritius, we'll obviously miss you again, but I know you'll always be coming back and chasing those dreams and winning some big races.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for taking the time to chat to us, and we'll follow you closely on course. We've got racing tomorrow, we've got racing at the weekend, and it really is hotting up now. It's November, going into the main part of the season.
Yeah, sure, the big races are right around the corner now, so it's going to be really interesting racing coming up.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much, Bernard.
Thank you.
Lovely to be chatting to Bernard Fayd'herbe this morning. We're really looking forward to seeing him throughout the Cape Summer season. It's great to have him back here, super rider, and we look forward to seeing him in the winner's box.
A son of Jetmaster, Skit Skizzles is a powerful stallion that stands at Bosworth Farm in Clarksdorp. Andrew Bond filed this report on the making of a stallion.
As they come to the 400-metre marker, and Skit Skizzles now moving up to tackle them, and Skit Skizzles hits the front. Celtic King down the inside of Gawley Gas, and running on is Regal Press, but Skit Skizzles has skittled away from them, and it's all over. And Skit Skizzles, very impressive, won it by 5, 6, 7 lengths, you count, even 8 at the wire.
He had unbelievable ability. I mean, you talk about the cross, probably one of the most successful crosses for Jetmaster was Northern Guest. Obviously, he was always going to face a crossroad with the size that he has and the great mass that he has, and keeping him sound. And that crossroad, came pretty soon in his career.
As they come to the 400-metre marker, and Skit Skizzles now moving up to tackle them, and Skit Skizzles hits the front. Celtic King down the inside of Gawley Gas, and running on is Regal Press, but Skit Skizzles has skittled away from them, and it's all over. And Skit Skizzles, very impressive, won it by 5, 6, 7 lengths, you count, even 8 at the wire.
He was just not going to be easy to keep sound, the size that he was. There wasn't one great problem or weakness that he had, and I think that'll stand him in good stead. Bottom line, he won his maiden by 10 lengths, Andrew, and the fact was that he was just too heavy. He was more like a bull, and he is obviously from the family of melting, has had a lot of speed.
Yeah.
From a physical point of view, from an ability point of view, pedigree-wise, he's got every opportunity to make it as a stallion.
Gladiovia shows a lot of heart, shows a lot of courage. She's just in front of Wisteria Walking Cordillera. Line comes. It's very, very close. Cracking race. Absolute ripper. 5 got it. Cordillera. Cordillera just won right at the very end.
Yeah, he's obviously got a good demeanour, and obviously being handled very well at Bosworth, which certainly has enhanced that. I've trained quite a few of his progeny, and there's certainly no temperament issues, which is fantastic.
Have we still got something very exciting in the tank with Terra del Fuego?
Yeah, I do think there is a big one in him. That Philanthropic Sun is very good.
Yes.
And obviously Cordillera is a feature winner.
Yeah.
I think it's just scary what he's produced with the little opportunity he's had. I understand many stallions have had to make it the hard way off very low numbers, but sure, I'd like to go back and see what stallion has done this with such a light book of mares.
Warrior's Rest is in front. Danza second. Tierra del Fuego up the inside is a length and a half away. Matador Man is back and forth with State Trooper. Tierra del Fuego finishing strongly up the inside. Coming at Warrior's Rest. Tierra del Fuego now runs away, and Tierra del Fuego has beaten Warrior's Rest and beaten him well.
Well, that's a wrap for this week's edition of Breeding to Win. Tune in next week for more Breeding to Win action. From myself, Julie Alexander, and the rest of the Breeding to Win team, good night.